What about Scarborough Town Council, which has given
no idea.
Well, I can tell you.
No idea.
Well, I can tell you what's happened there, and I can ask you whether you think this is the right thing to do. Scarborough Town Council has given its reform mayor a 600% pay rise.
I have no idea.
You don't know?
Whether what you say is true or not, I have no idea.
So is that the right thing to do in principle?
I have no idea. It's a town council, 600%. What's it from sort of?
It's a small amount. It was a payment of £500 up to £3,500, which I know you're going.
I don't know. Is he doing it or she doing it as a full-time job? I have no idea.
But in principle, is that the right thing to do?
What we could do is just get multimillionaires to stand as candidates everywhere, and indeed, our Doge team are doing the work unpaid, right? If people have got resources and want to do it for free, that's great. I don't know the Scarborough circumstances.
Okay.
Nigel Farage once again proved he's the king of empty bluster and hollow populism. Faced with a basic question about a 600s pay rise for Scarborough's Reform May, or a local issue that any serious political figure would at least pretend to have an opinion on, Farage completely short-circuited his response. No idea. Over and over again, like a broken record in a pub corner, dodging accountability while puffing up his usual man of the people routine. Let's be honest, this is the same Nigel Farage who spent decades ranting about waste, corruption, and the political elite. Yet when it comes time to actually weigh in on a concrete local example of taxpayer money being spent, he folds like wet cardboard. He's not a leader. He's a walking soundbite machine who panics the moment someone asks him for substance. Farage's fallback is always the same: play the clueless outsider, even when he's spent years trying to worm his way into every position of power possible. He rants about millionaires in politics while dining with oligarchs and cozying up to the banking class. He talks about ordinary people while hiding behind the same political cowardice he claims to oppose. In short, this wasn't just an embarrassing interview. It was a perfect snapshot of Nigel Farage. All swagger, no spine.
Good to see you, Charlie. Thanks so much for joining us. Right, okay. You've seen what Danny Dyer's had to say about the state of our politicians. That they're all posh. We need more working class people in control of the country. What do you make of it?
Undoubtedly, it's right there. As politicians that come from sort of very upper class, they've not had the life experience, they've not had the lows, they've not been poor basically, and have not worked their way to the top. I mean, I've been working class all my life, come from nothing and worked my way to the top. I'm still working class, and I think the value of it is the life experience you get from it. Obviously, I think these days it's not as important, like the class distinction thing, perhaps as 30 years ago, but undoubtedly we need more working class, more practical people in politics, more people with common sense and people that can make decisions. And more so that if somebody comes from a very working class background and is working class, they understand the lower side of things in life, which unfortunately politicians don't have a clue about.
Charlie, it is actually a fact that we have the most working class government that we've had for a long, long time, if not ever at the moment. I think it's only 2% of the current Labour cabinet actually were privately educated. So that compares sort of like, they are mostly working class, and including the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, who I think even you would agree is the very different definition of working class.
Well, you say that, but everybody has different meanings of working class. I mean, I don't think Angela Rayner comes from, a very, very poor background, struggled all her life. Yes, she may come from a council estate, but that doesn't make you working class. I mean, she may have gone to university. Does that make you still working class? I believe proper working class are people that have come from a very bad background. They've started with nothing and they've worked their way through life and they've experienced all the life things. But I don't think any of the Labour Party I would class as proper working class. And, if anything, I mean, it'd be good if half of them just had a proper job. They never had a proper job, or where you have to struggle or think for yourself. So I don't think none of the Labour Party are working class. And that's the point Danny Dyer's making. That's why we're in a mess, because you've got people that are in politics, people don't like them, and you know, they're pretending to be working class, and that's a fine example of it. I mean,
okay, Charlie, what about this one then? So Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage, okay, both incredibly popular with the working class voters, with the red wall, etc. But both of them privately educated, good university education. I mean, they're the definition of posh, but they're very popular with working class voters.
Okay, yeah, because they understand it. You know, all of a sudden they've obviously looked into it properly, and they've not got their nose stuck up in the air, and they understand, you know, the values of working class people and the importance of them. But these other posh people and that, they just look down on as if they're no value. That's why Nigel and Boris are popular, because they're people's people, and they get it. You don't have to be working class to get it, but you've got to have some sort of humanity about you, knowing that, you know, the value of working class people. Many rich people I know come from working class backgrounds. They'll never retire. They keep, like myself, keep forming more companies, because we've had it very poor. We've had it very low in their life, and we don't want to go back to that. So the fact that Nigel and Boris understand working class people, that's a big plus for them.
Okay, so it's not about how much money you've got. You can be you can be a millionaire like yourself and still be working class, like David Beckham, for example, still working class. But is it about education? Is it about how you talk? I mean, if you talk posh, can you still be working class?
Well, obviously, it's many people perceive it in different ways. You know, if you talk like me, then you can't be middle class or upper class. I mean, I think we make too much of the class sort of distinction things. But yeah, people go by education, how you talk, what area you lived in, how much money you got. But that doesn't make you. It doesn't make you upper class. It doesn't make you. If you're working class, you're working class. And
Charlie Mullins' comment. They're just pretending to be working class. Isn't just a cheap jab at the Labour Party. It's a reflection of a tired elitist narrative that gets recycled every election cycle. Mullins, a millionaire businessman, claims that none of the Labour leadership qualifies as proper working class because, in his view, they haven't had a real job. But let's be honest, this isn't about jobs, it's about gatekeeping. What exactly does Mullins mean by a proper job? Is it plumbing, like his own background? Is it factory work, retail, teaching, nursing? Or is he suggesting that if you become a lawyer, a doctor, or, heaven forbid, a career politician, you automatically get disqualified from representing working people? The implication is ridiculous. The Labour Party is full of people who come from working class roots but went on to pursue higher education or public service. Does that somehow erase their experience growing up in council estates, living paycheck to paycheck, or seeing their communities hollowed out by government cuts? This is the classic right-wing playbook. Accuse Labour of being fake working class while championing billionaires and Eton boys as the real voice of the people. It's a cynical distraction tactic designed to undermine any meaningful discussion about class inequality. Mullins wants the public to believe that unless you're currently covered in grease or on a building site, you have no right to speak for ordinary people. But guess what? The billionaire class doesn't just lack working class credentials. The billionaire class doesn't just lack working class credentials. They lack empathy for workers altogether. At the end of the day, real representation isn't about who had a proper job in the past. It's about who's actually fighting for fair wages, workers' rights, and social protections in the present. And on that front, Mullins' billionaire friends are the last people anyone should trust,